So, believe it or not, every so often there are some news stories, viral videos, whatever the case may be, that I actually do not care to cover. Now, a lot of the time I see those stories, they're on my radar, I keep up, but I don't discuss them for whatever reason. A lot of the times it's because I don't think there's much to discuss. Now, that's exactly what happened with Teacher Bae. I came across her content. I saw people making content about her content. I think it was about a week ago now. Initially, I discussed this with a few people that I know, but I did not make any video about it because realistically, is it worth a video to say, hey, your clothing at school is inappropriate, your behavior at school is inappropriate, or something along those lines? I think that we can all use our collective powers of observation and just general logic to determine whether we think her outfits are appropriate or not. But I don't think that that's a big enough discussion for a video. Now, things have continued to come out. In fact, this morning I opened TikTok to see if anything had come out, and even just on my For You page, I scrolled once and came across two back-to-back videos basically about Teacher Bae. Here we are, it has been whittled. If you don't know who Teacher Bae is or Miss Williams, she is a content creator and teacher, allegedly, and her content basically is showing her outfits as a teacher, and there are times where she shows herself writing on the whiteboard, but that's really the extent of the teaching we're seeing here. And we're gonna talk about the teaching aspect too, because this is not just about outfits anymore. This has gone far beyond all of that, hence why there's actually something to discuss now. The main thing with Teacher Bae, and I'll show you her content, the main critiques are that what she wears to school, she has TikToks showing her school outfits, as you can see right here, and the main critique has been that her outfits are not appropriate for school. Initially, this was the central story. The thing is that from the fact that she was wearing these inappropriate outfits, people started coming to particular conclusions. Like, hey, why are you wearing outfits that some people deem as club-worthy, like wearing high, strappy heels, wearing very form-fitting clothes? Why are you wearing that around your students who I believe are middle schoolers? Obviously that takes a very dark turn because a lot of people were discussing the fact that female pedophiles are often underlooked. Now that's a big jump to be making, but those were the conversations that were happening. The other conversations that were happening were relative to body, in the sense of people were saying, you know, she's a curvy woman, she can't hide her curves or remove her curves to go to work, which is also a valid point. And this turned into a race conversation because people started comparing what white teachers who maybe were less curvy were wearing as opposed to her black and curvy, what she was wearing, and they were saying that the rules disproportionately affected her because having no curves, these other teachers could wear kind of whatever they wanted as opposed to her because she had curves, it was harder. This conversation has been somewhat debunked because there are a bunch of creators, mostly black creators that I've come across, who've said, you know, even black creators who are teachers have shown their outfits, and there are plenty of curvy women who wear outfits that are simply not necessarily more modest, but less form-hugging. There are plenty of times, and I'm sure we've all had a curvy teacher who simply dressed in a particular way that does not accentuate those curves. You're not hiding them. Everyone knows they're there, but it's a difference of wearing a super tight skirt that starts at your waist and goes down to your feet and we see everything, as opposed to a skirt that's tight at your waist and flares outward. Two different things. I'm not here to tell you what to wear, but I am here to tell you what a code of conduct would probably say is okay and not okay, because everything I've seen Teacher Bae wear would have not flown at any school I've gone to, and in fact that's why I'm so shocked at what she wears, because I've never seen anything like that. So here I'm going to show you a couple of TikToks of what people are saying online. To be noted, a couple of these TikToks have over 1 million likes, just to let you know what type of virality this case has as of right now, and then we're going to discuss what's going on right now.
So all today, I've heard nothing except for stuff about this Teacher Bae person. So I took it upon myself to go look it up because I'm like, who is Teacher Bae? Like, what is this? Is this like an actual teacher? Like, what's going on? So I'm scrolling and everyone's talking about it. So I come across her page. Y'all, why is this lady playing in the people's classrooms? And mind you, like, I hate the people, like, especially the females in the comments, like, oh, y'all just hating this and that. But my thing is, why are you competing with, like, high school girls for, like, boys, like, little boys' attention? That's what her outfits are giving. Are you there to teach? You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be leading by example. mind you, in a school setting, it's supposed to be like teaching these kids professionalism, you know, how to dress, yada yada. And the girls get dress coded for the stuff she wearing. Y'all remember in high school, we couldn't even show like anything above the knee. You couldn't wear nothing like strappy, no type of like V cut, nothing. Like they was quick to send you to that office. And not to mention, like, why is you wearing club heels? The ones that be lacing up around your leg? I am lost. And maybe I don't understand because I'm a nurse. Y'all see, like, I wear scrubs. So I know what I'm wearing every single day. It's hard to make scrubs unprofessional. But, like, the people who have to get up on a day-to-day and dress for, like, an office setting, can y'all chime in the comments? Because I'm actually curious. Do y'all think her outfits are okay? And then another thing is like, why are you referring to yourself as Teacher Bae on social media? And then I saw people like tagging like her Instagram name. So, you know, I'm nosy. I go look on her Instagram because it's not private. Why do this lady got pictures of her bent over, booty up in the air, thong bikini, and your page is not private, meaning y'all already know these students done looked up her Instagram and stuff. So it's like, are you wanting them to see that? Anyways, I don't know. These generations is cooked because this is what's teaching them in the classroom. It's giving like sis need to be somewhere in Magic City.
Teachers that feel like they can wear whatever they want to wear to work. Yes, I'm talking about Teacher Bae. I'm going to call her Miss Williams because you a teacher. I'm going to call you Miss Williams. And all the other teachers that feel like they can wear that type of stuff to work. I did see a lot of women talking about this, but I feel like there hasn't been a lot of men talking about this. So hopefully y'all get a different perspective from a man and how little boys will think. I'm going to just say this now. Y'all are straight up weird. Y'all get on this app talking about how a lot of men are PDF people. A lot of women are PDF people too. You know that them boys are staring at your backside. You know this. You know that them boys are fantasizing about you. That's weird because you keep putting on these outfits that allow them to have these type of fantasies. And you do it on purpose. You know that these stuff is happening. And I would probably excuse you if you were an elementary school teacher, maybe elementary school, but you definitely look like a middle school or high school teacher. Those boys are fantasizing about you. Then you might say, well, I can't control how my body looks. And you're right. But that teacher got a BBL. And first off, getting a BBL as a teacher is crazy. But you might not be able to control the way your body looks, but you can definitely control the clothes that you put on. And you're doing this on purpose. I know you're doing this on purpose. I think you get aroused knowing these little boys are fantasizing about you. And it's not even the boys, it's the girls too. You are imprinting on these little girls as well. I seen a post about this lady. She was saying that some teachers still feel like they're in high school and they're in competition with some of the girls. This is one of those cases. Like, don't you feel weird that little boys are fantasizing about you? Like that would make me feel, bro, I don't know. That's crazy. You know these boys are fantasizing about you. Yet you still come to work with these tight clothes on. You still come to work showing off your BBL. And I don't know. Like, we put women on a different pedestal when it comes to PDF, but man, we down here, women, y'all up here, y'all could get away with so much stuff, but y'all are, man, hey. The last thing I want to say is that this problem does not happen on the collegiate level. I've seen this discourse happen on elementary, middle school, high school, but never college. Never college professors, they aren't wearing those type of clothings. And why? The students are older. Why don't you wear this type of clothing? Because they know it's unprofessional. How do they know this, but y'all don't know this? Y'all are weird. Let me know what y'all think, man. Y'all stay positive. Peace.
Okay, so these are two content creators who discuss this. Now, it's interesting because a point that comes up in both of the TikToks, even though it's not directly said in both of the TikToks, is the concept of jealousy. So a lot of people in the comments, whenever someone critiques what she was wearing, and honestly, let's talk about attire and connection to behavior, because to some extent, your attire is a behavior. You're choosing to wear clothes that are not appropriate for school. So that becomes a behavior because you are effectively misbehaving. You're going against, in my opinion, what should be a very general code of conduct by wearing really high heels to class, by wearing short skirts, by wearing really tight clothing. All of this is not appropriate for class, no matter the body type you have, right? Now, depending on a school, they might let that slide, but I still think that most adults, most people who are thinking logically will say this is not necessarily it. And I don't really think super form-fitting outfits have any place at school, end of. Whether it's the kids or the teacher. And in fact, a lot of people in the comments were saying, if kids can't wear this type of stuff to school, why can the teacher? And honestly, it's kind of a valid point. One of the main things that's brought up anytime that someone critiques Teacher Bae is the fact that if you're a woman, you're immediately going to be called jealous, which I think is hilarious because, sure, she's an attractive woman and whatever else, but that's so far off from the point. And jealous of what exactly? Because yes, sure, she's an attractive person, but at the end of the day, she's going to school to teach kids. So what would people be jealous of? That middle school boys are looking at her some type of way? Like what? I don't really understand the jealousy comment here. And surely there are some people who are jealous, but you can't just say anyone who's critiquing has a jealousy issue, because really this is being appropriate and being appropriate around kids. That's the central issue. What she's wearing is why we're bringing up this conversation, but really what we're talking about is children's spaces and children's spaces staying children's spaces. Aside from that, the thing about the BBL, honestly, the BBL is so small and minute of an issue compared to anything else, and granted, it's her body, she can do whatever she wants, but again, we're going back to the conversation of clothes and accentuating body parts. Now, granted, you cannot remove your body parts, you cannot change your body to the craziest extent, and you also can't be expected to wear some massive bed sheet that just covers any sense of your body, right? This is where I think we can use our powers of discernment and see what is appropriate for school and what isn't, okay? Without blaming your body, you still need to dress appropriately for school. And another conversation that has come up here is the fact that people are saying that she simply does not wear school clothes and doesn't have a school wardrobe. Conversation that has come out of that is people saying you can't expect her to buy 2 different wardrobes for her normal life and her work life. To which I respond, most people do that. Most people, believe it or not, like the people who work on Wall Street or whatever, I don't think they're always walking around in suits, but that is their work outfit. The same way if you're a nurse, you're buying your own scrubs. That's not what you wear outside of work. Most people have a secondary wardrobe that's exclusive to their work. So I don't really think we can make that type of claim. And again, this is a pretty predictable gig in the sense of if you apply to be a teacher, you know that there are certain expectations of you beyond what's expected work-wise, it's presentation-wise, right? The same way that I know that in plenty of places, me having tattoos would be a problem, so I'd have to wear long sleeves. That's something I know. So there are other videos that I'm going to show you in a second, and one of the conversations here is also whether this is rage bait, which it might very well be. But again, we return to the central thing about rage bait, especially with people who have TikToks that are centered around their career or their daily tasks that include some monetary gain. You still are a teacher. So all of this, the attention you get right now is surely not going to be consistently like this. Like this is the 15 minutes most likely. But aside from that, if you actually care about your job, this should not be the trajectory you're taking, in the sense of, if you want to convince me that you actually care about your job as a teacher, first of all, most teachers would be appalled to find out that people find their outfits inappropriate. If it happened to me, I would not only be embarrassed and ashamed, but I would really look back at what I was wearing and be like, oh shit, like I'm fucking up my career, basically. My clothing is getting in the way of the career path that I want. Now, whether this is her ultimate dream of a job or not, I have no idea, so maybe she doesn't care that much. But realistically, if you're at a place where you want to be respected and you care about what people think about you in terms of respecting you as a colleague, you should not be very blasé about people looking at you a certain way because you're not wearing clothes that are appropriate for school, in their opinion. Now, granted, if it were just 1 or 2 people thinking, hey, this is not appropriate, maybe it's a them problem. But here, it's not always about numbers, but the majority is saying this is not appropriate, and maybe you need to ask yourself why, and also ask yourself, what were your teachers wearing? Because I'm really willing to bet that your teachers were not wearing high heels, short, tight skirts, and carrying around a Chanel handbag to class. All of it is giving more Instagram photo shoot than actual class, okay? Also, it brings us to the question that a lot of people are asking is, who is this content for? This content that Teacher Bae makes of her outfits and so forth, and I'll show you some in a second. Who is supposed to be looking at this? Who is the target demographic? That is my question. If it's other teachers and you're trying to tell them what to wear or give them inspo, yikes. Otherwise, who is it? The parents of the kids? Because I don't think they'd be super enthused. Is it for the kids themselves? They see you in class? I don't know. And to be clear, all of this is not just about Teacher Bae. A lot of people are also calling to attention that there's a problem with the administration, because if the administration of the school is not seeing any issues here, from what's being worn to how things are being posted on social media, and let me get to her second account, because she has a second account that's public that is... yikes. So the fact that the principal or none of the higher ups seem to be saying anything or have any issue is interesting, because the fact that she's gone this viral puts all of them at risk as well. Because if parents start calling angry at the school, if they talk to school boards, blah, 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 this ends up being their problem. And to some extent, this is already their problem. It really depends on how big of a problem it's going to be. So admin doing fuck all, not a great look, honestly.
Oh, look at Miss Williams. Hey, Miss Williams. It's Monday. Oh.
So that's an example of the outfits that we're talking about here. And this is also one of the outfits that people have had a bigger issue with because of the lacy heels. A lot of people are calling this club wear. I don't find it appropriate for a classroom setting, I will say that. If the skirt were longer, perhaps, question mark, with flats, probably that would be fine, but it's everything put together. Like the short skirt, the lace-up high heels, all of it, the little purse. It's like, where are you going like this? Aside from that, there are other videos being posted wherein Miss Williams clearly has an agenda in the sense of she doesn't really posit herself as a teacher as much as she's saying she's Teacher Bae, whatever. If she wasn't titled Teacher Bae, nobody would guess that she's a teacher. Why? Because she doesn't look like one, and because the content she's posting might happen to be at a school, but other than that, there's nothing indicating teacher vibes, okay? There's nothing that says education here. So here is someone commenting on one of the videos that she posted.
Miss Williams here is going viral over her choices of outfit that she wears to school. I don't know about you guys, but I almost hate to admit that I don't think I would get any learning done with we have strict dress codes at school for the girls. And when it comes to tights, you have to have shirts over your bottom that cover it completely. 100% inappropriate, baby. You're propped up against the bus. That ain't... No. As shown here, though, you can see that she can dress classy. This one was crazy to me, and yes, it's her day off, but it says Miss Williams, #Miss Williams, on a day off. Teachers of TikTok. I don't know, but I thought that teachers' TikToks and social medias had to be really, kind of bland. Or this one, the only C's my students will see, and she has a Chanel purse. Do you know how many of your students can afford a Chanel purse? Or their parents? Do you know how many of them can afford a Chanel purse? Touch grass, baby. And this really took the cake for me. The name of the student was on this paper, and she's got it on her TikTok. I don't know, maybe I just blew it out of proportion, but...
So this is another aspect of the conversation that people are talking about, is how open her social media is and what is expected out of a teacher. Now, granted, this is where I have less experience, because when I was in school, Instagram, high school, obviously middle school, God knows, Instagram was not a thing, okay? In high school, perhaps at the end, but otherwise, not really a thing. Social media was not as it is now. So if you wanted to find pictures of your teacher outside of school, it'd probably be on Facebook, and their Facebook would be private. That, however, does pertain here, because realistically, there's no reason that students should really have access to you outside of school or see you in compromising situations, which we're going to get to. This is the second account coming in. The social media regulation seems to be really willy-nilly, is odd to me. Also because I remember that even when I was teaching freshman college students, one of the things I actually very much did not want was to be found on social media to any respect, because you want to keep the division between who I am here on the internet as opposed to who I am as a teacher, because they're not necessarily different people, but we have different jobs and different goals, and so there's a very different dynamic between me and you, and then me and a student. Different. Also, I feel like when people have you on social media, they feel some type of closeness, whether it's there or not doesn't matter, but it's like they feel like they know you when they don't, and I feel like that would be dangerous for students to feel like they have some kind of handle on your personal life. And I also feel like it's weird for your students to be able to access where you were this weekend, what you wore when you went clubbing. That's weird. Why would you want that anyway?
Teacher Bae is getting as much attention as she's getting right now because of a combination of things. First of all, she calls herself Teacher Bae. That in itself is a red flag coming from a teacher. Two, there are multiple videos that she has on outfits that are above her knee. Students can't do that, so she shouldn't be able to either. Three, she goes outside and takes pictures posted up on a yellow school bus on a regular basis. That gives, I miss being in high school. Why the fuck are you taking pictures every day by the yellow school bus? Four, her social media for her teaching and her social media for her personal life are one and the same. So she's posting her late night club outfits on the same page that she's posting her get ready with me as a teacher post. Like, that doesn't make sense. It's inappropriate. And five, there are multiple videos of her acting inappropriately, but the one specifically that a lot of people are having an issue with is her writing on her whiteboard with her expo marker and forcing her ass to shake as she's doing it. Like, she's throwing her body so her ass can shake while she's writing it so the camera can see it. And it's probably scary for the parents who have children in her class.
So yeah, the whiteboard and her wearing pretty form-fitting pants and making her ass jiggle allegedly on purpose is also a point of conversation, because again, this feels like teacher cosplay and not like actually a teacher. Because if you're actually a teacher, the first thing you want is to be respected and taken seriously. This is not giving that. This is more pointing to, hey, look at my body, my ass is the main central focus of this shot. It's not the whiteboard. Who's looking at the whiteboard realistically? However, I did find someone who did look at the whiteboard, and also it seems like she's not fully equipped to be a teacher. So nothing here is working. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to talk about it, because we're going to talk about the second account, like I said, but let's just talk about her as a teacher.
There seriously is a literacy problem in the United States. What I'm referring to is that video I made about the Teacher Bae and her whiteboard and how she had a lot of grammatical errors on that whiteboard. Starting out, as you can see here, just based off of context, so many people kept saying, well, maybe it's an assignment for people to correct her. Look at the fucking board. Look at the context. That is not what is going on here. And I know this because, one, look at her Instagram caption. The same way that she's writing on the board, she types the same way. And if you look at her other Instagram captions and her TikTok captions, they are exactly the same. She just types and writes like that. Secondly, she wrote here the concept of self-reflecting. That is also not correct. What she should have wrote was the concept of self-reflection. Thirdly, look at this caption right here. She said when you're a teacher bae, and she used the wrong form of your. Y'all gave this chick too much benefit of the doubt. And what's scary about this is that she is a reading teacher. A reading teacher! Mind you, 54% of Americans read on a 6th grade level, and 20% of those read on a 4th grade level. That is a problem. Do better.
This is potentially the more significant part of all of this, is that I don't know how well equipped she is to do her job. I don't know what certifications, degrees, whatever she might have. I think one thing we can agree on, generally speaking, is that educators need to be highly educated in order to share the appropriate and correct, mind you, information. It does not seem like that is happening here. Randomly capitalizing words, misspelling, grammatical errors, these can happen to anyone, granted. But it's supposed to be a mistake, not a lack of knowledge, right? And those are two different things. You can make an error, but if you don't actually know that it's an error, there we have a problem. So I don't know what all she's doing in class. I have no idea. Based on this video, though, it doesn't look particularly good. Also because there are plenty of rules within grammar that are already confusing enough, let alone if you're putting incorrect random shit, like randomly capitalized words that aren't proper nouns. Anyway, it does not look good, and I feel like you're just going to confuse children, along with confusing them also with everything you've got going on, with looking like you're going potentially to the club or out with friends instead of coming here to work to teach them, then making mistakes on the whiteboard, writing do, D-O, instead of do, D-U-E, like do tomorrow. Those are two different things. To do it tomorrow and have it be due tomorrow. Kind of also a big difference, right? But anyway, so this is the alleged side account. There are very few posts where you can actually see her face. There are actually very few posts, period. There are 5 as of right now. Like I said, you can't really see her face, but she's using the same kind of name and she's hashtagged this in certain of her posts from the Teacher Bae account. So it seems like this is her. It's an open account. A lot of what's on here is just her twerking with see-through pants, leggings, whatever. This is, again, a public account. Therefore, if her students do any type of digging, which honestly in middle school or at the high school level, they will do digging if they know that this is out there and this wasn't that hard to find. Again, we're having an overlap of the personal and the professional that need not happen. Why should this account be public in the first place? Not for anyone else, but for yourself as a teacher. Do you really want your students knowing that you're going to the club or twerking? There's nothing wrong with those things, but those are 2 separate parts of your life, ideally. They should not really be overlapping at all. And why do you want your students to see you like that or quote unquote know you like that? I think there has to be also a boundary between what your students know about your private life and what they don't. In fact, I think that's one of the central things that happened with the majority of my teachers is that there was a net line of, this is Miss Williams, she's my teacher for reading. What I know about her is just in this class. It's not, oh, I saw that she went to club whatever on Saturday and then she posted a twerking video. None of that should be happening. It's weird, and it's also, again, the question of, why is this public? To be noted, the videos from this second TikTok are from 2023, which also begs the question of, if these are old videos and you're not really posting on here anymore, what's the point of this being public as well? Like, it shouldn't be public, period, but especially if it's old, if you don't want to delete the stuff, at least make it private and dub. It doesn't have to be that big of a deal. But again, she's opting not to. And that's what seems to be like an issue here, generally speaking. It's not actively doing something wrong as much as it's choosing to not do the right thing, which are similar but slightly different in the sense of, it's not like you're actively going to school and, as far as we know, acting inappropriately, but you're choosing to not wear clothes that are, in most people's opinions, school appropriate. Anyway, what this has resulted in is a lot of people, especially a lot of women who are Black and also school teachers, posting their outfits, some of which are also curvy, showing how you can dress appropriately but also maintain your sense of style and, you know, not just wear some really loose, ugly piece of clothing. As you can see here, it's very possible, and I think that that's the thing that a lot of people are also pointing out, that they're treating Teacher Bae, Miss Williams, as if she is a child who doesn't know better, when realistically, like I said prior, any person with a sense of discernment can say, okay, there are some outfits that I can wear to school and some that I can't, and maybe I need a separate school wardrobe. Like one of the content creators said prior, people are giving too much of a benefit of the doubt, because at the end of the day, we are dealing with an adult. We're dealing with, as far as we know, a trained adult. So there's really no reason that people can say, maybe she doesn't know, maybe the school's okay with this, maybe. And granted, maybe the school is okay with this. That doesn't make it okay, and that doesn't mean she doesn't know what she's doing between posting these TikToks, posting these pictures, posting things on her public second TikTok. All of it put together, to me, says that there is something off here, and I'm not going to jump to any conclusions like certain people have, saying that she's a pedophile, that she wants to arouse the teenagers, whatever. I don't know about any of that. There was one person who was saying that she seems like the type of person who wishes she were still in high school, and honestly, that I can see. But other than that, you do have to ask. Without coming to conclusions here, I will ask, what is the purpose of all this? And is it worth not being taken seriously as an educator just so you can wear your little outfit to school? Anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.